Hello there and welcome. This is Galaxy News. Here are the stories making it to our headlines. Federal government commences work on the Lagos-Ibadan Rail project. House of Representatives investigate massive deforestation. Moving outside Nigeria, United States President Donald Trump says U.S. and Russia relations are dangerous low. And on sport, former heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko retires. Many thanks for joining us. I am Rita Omodia. On our first story today, the federal government has commenced work on the Lagos-Ibadan Rail Line project. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi made the disclosure while briefing officials of the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress of his ministry's activities. Addressing journalists after a closed-door meeting, the minister disclosed that all is now set to conclude the loan process scheduled to hold in China in the next few weeks. He also announced completion of the Kaduna-Abuja rail line and conclusion of contract deal for the rehabilitation of the entire 350,000-kilometer narrow-gauge line across Lagos, Kano, and Kara-Namada. Amechi further disclosed government's intention to sign the concession agreement for the rehabilitation of the rail line from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri by the end of October this year.
That we have commenced work on the Lagos-Ibadan rail, and the National Assembly has just signed, after some months, have just approved the borrowing plan. So in the next 1 to 2 weeks, we should be able to go to China to sign the loan agreement.
The House of Representatives had a committee investigating the massive deforestation and alleged corruption in the management of the environment and its effect on climate change, as described as unacceptable the estimated $500 million lost to the illegal exportation of wood from Nigeria to China. Speaking during an interactive meeting with stakeholders involved in the wood export by the committee, the chairman of the committee, Bid Eke, explained that there is a difference of $500 million between the figures presented by the Nigerian government and its Chinese counterpart as the amount made from the trade of wood between both countries. AK therefore called on relevant government agencies, especially the Nigerian Customs Service, to improve on its computation of proceeds from exports and immediately stop the export of wood that is not approved for exportation by the Nigerian government.
And by the time I opened it up, it's a messy situation. The mess there is so much. Just what you have said. Even if I will put it to them by Monday, the issue of CITES, which you people came together and said, let us harmonize, let us, okay, before you issue CITES, there must be a team that will go to the factory and let there be there should be an examination, a kind of people that will get there to ascertain that, yes, there's a factor.
The call came after his disclosure and states that the acting Deputy Controller General of Customs and Tariff and Trade, Alu Sule, should not carry the blame for monies lost as the NCS deals with licensed custom agents.
Anybody that brings this type of consignment for exportation, we must make sure that it meets these requirements. Because we, in turn, we disseminate that to the field, that is the operational areas. We do that. And I cannot see how somebody in his right senses out there that will export something that does not meet such requirements. We have an issue there.
House correspondent Tomilola Oyesomi reports that the lawmaker who opined that years of poor regulation of the country's forest resources has led to a devastating level of deforestation in many parts of the country, stressing the need for prompt and sustainable interventions to save the country from further exploitation by unknown businessmen. Still on the news, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Dukor Buratai, says the Nigerian Army will continue to sustain efforts towards adequately equipping units and formations to meet residual and emerging security threats. The Army Chief said this during the flag-off of a 3-day combat support arm training hosted by the headquarters of the Nigerian Army Intelligence Corps. The training with the theme, Improving Combat Support Synergy as a Force Multiplier in Counter-Insurgency Operations, is designed to encourage togetherness in the fight against insurgency. Buratai stated that the gathering is to enable soldiers to critically re-evaluate their operations in the Northeast and other parts of the country from the perspective of the combat support arm.
Reassure our people of our determination to end the insurgency. The Nigerian Army held the Small Arms Championship at the newly constructed Abu Ali Range located inside Camp Zero in the Sambisa Forest.
Adamawa State Governor Muhammadu Umaru Jibrila described the training as timely and expressed the hope that the knowledge to be acquired will improve military performance. The governor noted that Adamawa is calm and stable, adding that the choice of the state for the event indicates that the state is Boko Haram free.
Buhari, who we all know, highly committed with the fight of insurgency in the Northeast. Those that are not military people should just, when I'm talking as a military, they should know that I was part, and I'm still part of the military domain.
According to the governor, the state government will continue to give the military all the needed support to enable them discharge their responsibility of ending insurgency in the Northeast. Moving on, Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has requested for 2 additional police area commands, saying it would go a long way in tackling the nefarious activities of criminally minded persons in the state. The governor, who made the request while playing host to the Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, says the additional area commands, if granted, will be set up in Ikorodu and Badagry, assuring that the state government was ready to provide the funds to set up the commands.
I'm ready to fund additional area commands in Lagos. So I am requesting that we should do 2 additional area commands, one in Ikorodu and another one in Badagry. All these that I have requested, I know that it comes with additional personnel and it comes with additional financing. But I give my commitment. The safety of the citizens of Lagos is paramount to me, and I'm ready to fund it. I just need the cooperation.
Earlier, IGP Idris Ibrahim commended the governor for his tremendous support to the police command in the state, especially in providing equipment and welfare for officers. He said Lagos was leading in ways matters pertaining to security, especially through its innovative security thrust fund, which had become a national model.
Your Excellency, I want to thank you also for the support you have been giving to our Nigerian police force, especially in Lagos here. We know Lagos is a cosmopolitan city, and obviously you need the services of the police, and also police need your services in areas of supporting us with equipment and also our ability to sort of pay allowances to our men.
On the request of the governor to set up 2 additional police area commands, the IGP said the plan was already ongoing to increase area commands across the country to improve security surveillance and adequately address crime. Moving on, the Inspector General of Police, IGP Ibrahim Idris, has urged the federal government to adequately fund the police in order to deliver its responsibilities. Idris said this during a courtesy visit to the palace of the Oba of Lagos, Oba Rilwan Akinolu. The Inspector General of Police appreciated the roles of traditional rulers in the fight against criminality in the country.
The traditional institution, we always said, admonish our commissioners of police to be in constant collaboration with the palaces, because you are natural rulers of the people, and up to now, most of the committee members view traditional institution in very high esteem. In that respect, that make the position of traditional leaders very, very significant in our effort to maintain security.
In his remarks, Obariwon Akiolu appealed to the members of the National Assembly to confirm the appointment of Ibrahim Magu as the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. He said Lagos State is under-policed and appealed to the federal government to improve funding to the police.
It is not the job of the police alone, it is the responsibility of all of us. Come out with useful and true information to assist the police. Don't say because this man has taken my girlfriend, he has taken my land, you lie against him. If you do it, then you should catch up with you.
Lagos arraigns 28 adults, 12 minors for homosexuality. These and many more stories when the news returns. Do stay tuned. And 12 minors before a Lagos magistrate court for allegedly engaging in homosexuality contrary to the laws of the land. The minors were arraigned before Ebute Metta magistrate court, while the adults were arraigned before Yaba magistrate court. The defendants, who are all males, were arraigned separately on a one-count charge. They were all arrested last Saturday by men of the Lagos State Police Command in Owode area of the state. After the charge was read to the defendants, they all pleaded not guilty, while their lawyers urged the court to admit them to bail. The prosecution team, led by Ms. Adetutu Oshinusu, from the Directorate of Public Prosecution, Lagos State Ministry of Justice, did not oppose their bail application, but urged the court to direct the defendants to submit themselves to the Lagos State AIDS Control Agency for monitoring and Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team for rehabilitation. In his ruling, Chief Magistrate Adewale Ojo granted bail to the defendants in the sum of 500,000 naira and 2 shorties in like sum. The matter was adjourned to September 8, 2017.
Some persons, about 42 individuals, men, that were arrested over the weekend at a hotel along the Ikorodu axis. Quite a number of them are juveniles under the age of 18 years.
What came to the mind of the DSVRT was the fact that these are all minors. They are all children. They're all under the age of 18. And we are very concerned and ensure that the provisions of the Child's Rights Law are strictly kept to the letter. And the best interest of the child is what we are all about. And so we wanted to ensure that children are not remanded in prison or kept in any facility that is not in their best interest. And if possible, they need to be in a home environment.
The High Court of Justice sitting in Nakure has struck out the case filed by a group of youth from Ugbo land challenging the chairmanship appointment of Honorable Gbenga Edema from Ondo State Oil Producing Area Development Commission, also PADEC, by the Governor of Ondo State, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. The Ugbo youth believe that the chairmanship of OSOPADEC is divinely and strictly for the people from the kingdom, which is why they went to court praying that the court should nullify the appointment of Honorable Edema and appoint someone from Ugbo land. The presiding judge, Justice Adegoroye, after looking at the fact about the case, struck out the suit for lack of merit, especially because the chairman appointed by the governor is equally from Ilaja local government area, which is one of the 2 oil-producing local government areas of the state. The court, after hearing, awarded cost 25,000 naira in favor of the defendant.
When it comes to issue of appointments, it is a political issue which is not subject to judicial interpretation. Courts don't entertain political matters.
And in Oyo State, the Oyo State Police Command has promised thorough investigation following the arrest and prosecution of an Ibadan-based broadcaster, Oriyomi Amsat, who was allegedly arrested with a dead child. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Abiodun Odude, says the command will not be biased in handling the case, adding that the suspect is already in the prison custody. He appealed to residents of the state to remain calm, as justice will prevail at the end of the day.
Investigation is on. He has been charged to court and has been remanded in prison custody.
On crime control in the state, or do they disclose that about 35 suspects have been arrested in connection with armed robbery, while various arms and ammunition were recovered from them?
Well, the command has been calm, but it doesn't mean that we are resting on our oars. We are making tremendous achievements.
The commissioner assured that the command has put in place measures to sustain the existing reduction in crimes and other vices in the state. Moving on, the Judicial Commission, FIA, has been set up by the Kwara State government to ascertain the cause of the communal clash between Odowa and Ilofa in Okearo local government area of the state, has visited the two communities, especially the two traditional rulers. This is in a bid to find a lasting solution to the crisis, which led to the death of 3 persons and the destruction of 17 houses in both Odowa and Ilofa communities. While enumerating what transpired on the day of the incident, the monarch of Odowa blamed the Olofa of Ilofa for breaking the norms and tradition of the area by asking his subjects to display and sell at the markets before the annual festival was done.
I kept on reporting that I heard that Ilofa people are procuring ammunition to attack either Odowa or any other community within our environment. He said it can't be true.
The team moved to Ilofa, where it also met with the representative of the monarch and also a High Chief, Moses Oni, who praised God to give the commission the wherewithal to find a lasting solution to the constant crisis in that area.
And in the process, he slapped the Yaloja of Ilofa that what right has she to be selling yam in the market. And before you knew it, he just ordered some boys to go and bring those things they hid 3 days ago. And in less than 5 minutes, somebody was gone down.
The secretary of the commission said they were on guard to assess the situation and not to apportion blames.
We have come and we have seen. We've gone around all the locations where houses were destroyed and properties were destroyed. Now we have taken note of all of them. All right. We want the people of Ilofa and Odowa communities to forward their memorandum to the commission so that
as the two communities trade blames, people are eagerly waiting the outcome of the commission's report, which is expected to be ready in the month's time. Natives of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, today marched half-naked protesting alleged neglect and marginalization by government. The group also renewed their call for the consideration of FCT indigents for appointment into the Federal Executive Council. Addressing journalists during the peaceful rally, Secretary of the group, Christopher Dada, lamented exclusion of indigents of the territory, saying permanent secretaries as well as the ministerial appointment into the FCT ministry must be the exclusive preserve of the indigents.
Among the many agitations, this is just one among the many agitations. There are several agitations.
Chief of Garki Abuja Alhaji Usman accused government of high-handedness and insensitivity to the rights and privileges of FCT indigents as enshrined in the 1999 Constitution.
Our people are foreseeing that at the ministerial level, when executive meeting is being conducted, they are cut off. They don't know what is happening. Likewise, as the permanent secretary and other agencies.
Abuja, which is home to Nigeria's capital city, was carved out in 1976 from parts of Nasarawa, Niger, and the Kogi states. Though its natives were compensated and resettled in parts of the outlying areas, yet they always complain of neglect. Recall that the Senate in the just concluded Constitution Amendment approved the clause that mandates a sitting president to consider indigents of FCT in the appointment of members of the federal cabinet, a practice that has never been done since the inception of the country. Still ahead, National Universities Commission advocates review of academic disciplines in universities. Details coming up shortly. Welcome back. Still on the news, the Executive Secretary of the National Universities Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, has charged the Committee of Directors of Academic Planning of Nigerian Universities to come up with acceptable curriculum review of 13 academic disciplines in Nigerian universities. Professor Rashid made the call at a meeting with directors of academic planning of Nigerian universities at the NUC headquarters in Abuja. He equally spoke on the need to introduce computing as a 14th academic discipline in Nigerian universities.
That now is to tell ourselves that the digital revolution in the world is so important that Nigerian university system needs to be fully aware of the importance of computing as an emerging discipline.
The NUC Executive Secretary criticized the non-availability of actual numerical strength of undergraduates in Nigerian universities and demanded an up-to-date figure of students in universities in the country.
I don't want approximation. I don't want somebody to say we have about 1.2 million. No, I want to say we have 1,389,211 as at June 30th also. No approximation. It's something that can be done. No question of this. All these statistics are brandishing.
Other issues discussed at the meeting of directors of academic planning of Nigerian universities and NUC include the need for research database and coordinating unit in universities, status of the course credit system, grade point average and accreditation of part-time undergraduate degree programs, among others. And moving on to Oyo State, the state government has stressed the need for effective partnership with the organized private sector for qualitative healthcare delivery to be achieved in Nigeria. Governor Abiola Ajimobi, who said this in Ibadan at the launching of 50 billion naira healthcare endowment fund, said the reality on ground is an attestation that government alone cannot successfully fund the health sector.
The reality staring us in the face in Nigeria today is that it is pretty difficult for the country to achieve the sustainable development goals if we continue the business as usual in the health sector.
The Commissioner for Health in the state, Dr. Aziz Adeduton, and the consultant Oyo State Healthcare Endowment Fund, Dr. Bola Olaoshebikon, in their separate remarks said there is adequate machinery on ground to ensure that fund realized is judiciously utilized for its purpose.
We also want to make sure that that cardiovascular center has a sub-unit for dialysis. Majorly in our hospitals now, other than if you go to UCH, there's virtually no place where you can get dialysis done in Oyo State to the best international standard available.
This project is a special intervention fund. As the Honorable Commissioner said, the state is doing a lot already, but some good, more development can happen with extra funding.
The event was attended by dignitaries in the health sector within and outside the state, including stakeholders from the private sector. In Ogun State, the All Progressives Congress, Shola Lawal, has described the call by some members of the party seeking cancellation of the election of the Congress that elected delegates across the 20 local government and 37 LCDAs for the National Convention as an afterthought. Speaking to correspondent John Felix at the party secretariat in Abeokuta, the state capital, Lawal says there are no factions in this party, stressing that aggrieved members of the party can seek the constitutional set-up processes of seeking redress.
If it now took some people 5 days, 6 days to just suddenly wake up and say there are issues with an exercise that everybody are judged to be free and fair and of no fault, then it's an afterthought.
Speaking further, Shola Lawal says that the All Progressive Congress, which is known to be a democratic party, allows for full participation of everyone within the party, saying no one has been barred.
We run a solidly democratic party, and by so doing, By so doing, every member of the party is a participant in the processes and exercises of the party, every exercise of the party.
Recall that party members loyal to national leader Olusegun Oshoba has urged the National Executive Committee of the APC to set aside the outcome of the Congress held on the 29th day of July 2017. Still on security matters, over 360 shanties and illegal structures have been demolished by the Ogun State government as part of security checks being put in place to address the security challenges facing the state in recent times. The State Commissioner for Urban and Regional Planning, Ronke Shokefun, while monitoring the exercise at the Ore-Shagamu Expressway, says indiscriminate trailer parking and erection of shanties remain a crime punishable under the state laws. She says the development is to reduce impunity at which people erect legal structures across the state.
Nothing.
For you, nothing.
Nothing.
You say it us, you know.
Our elders, like we even say, man, they give us this year. May this year finish. Well, January. They not even inform us. They don't tell us anything. I will not hear anything.
If they want to build another shop in a block way or a container, make them build it for us so that they go tell us how much we would pay. So that one pay us. Pass to give us money. If they give us money now, we'll spend the money finish.
Speaking about the development, the State Commissioner for Urban and Regional Planning says this was imperative in order to bring sanity back into the environment.
Gone this extensive, if they hadn't become a menace. Trucks park here overnight from a couple of hours into the night. You start seeing them, and sometimes it's a total blockade. People traveling either towards Djibouti or coming out of there, heading towards Lagos, sometimes can't even pass.
She promised those concerned of government readiness and desire to relocate them to another place which is being worked upon by the government for their use.
But seeing the displacement, as you call it, but we are saying we're maintaining a setback. I know the governor is working assiduously with the Ministry of Housing to quickly create something. I can tell you authoritatively that EXCO is set to consider the construction of shops in Nigeria. Most of these people are not Shagamu residents. They're from all around.
Appeal to the traders concerned to cooperate with government in this direction, as government will no longer treat with kid glove and impunity against the environment. Up next is business news.
Hello and welcome to business. The Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, Anambra State chapter on Thursday certified 6 additional manufacturers in the state. The MANCAP certified manufacturers were basically SMEs that have scaled the various scrutiny by the agency. State Coordinator Engineer Wama Oluji tasked recipients to maintain high quality standards.
There is no finishing line for quality. What we normally say in our parlance is that quality is a moving target that doesn't have a finishing line. So since you have started this journey of excellence, we wouldn't want you to look back.
The zonal director who represented the SON DG at the event charged manufacturers to be at the forefront in terms of quality and standard.
I also wish to inform you that SON reserves the right to withdraw this certificate if you compromise on the quality that has brought you this far.
Some of the manufacturers in different interviews with Galaxy News laud the efforts of the organization in quality and standard control.
If not because of God's grace, we will not meet up with the standard of SON. By His infinite mercy, we've made it. And we are promising to blow trumpet to the world.
It was actually a cumbersome process. This is a process we started 5 years ago. Honestly, it hasn't been easy, but I thank God and I'm so happy that today it came to reality.
The samples of some products were displayed and inspected by the SON technical team. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, one of the Bretton Woods monetary institutions with a focus on global economy, has advised the Central Bank of Nigeria against continuous interventions in the country's move to address our infrastructural challenges. The advice by the IMF is based on the argument that continuous intervention is encouraging a lot of laxity and indiscipline in fiscal administration of the country, thus exposing the economy to a lot of vulnerabilities. Led by its senior resident representative and mission chief for Nigeria, Amin Mati, the IMF team was in the country from July 20 to 31, 2017 to discuss recent economic and financial developments, update macroeconomic projections, and review reform implementation. It will be recalled that the CBN at the moment is intervening in spending in several sectors, including agriculture financing, power sector, resource station, textile industry, as well as education, where huge funds are being deployed to provide solutions the government seemed unable to handle. The team commended the CBN for its continued tight monetary stance, but warned against her overbearing dominance at the forex market through her intervention, as well as intervention in financing government projects outside budgetary provisions. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, says it will extend the West African Gas Pipeline WAGP from Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire as part of the federal government's West African Energy Integration Policy. The group managing director of the NNPC, Dr. Meikanti Baru, disclosed this while receiving a delegation from Cote d'Ivoire at the NNPC Towers in Abuja. Represented by the Chief Operating Officer, Gas and Power, Engineer Saidu Mohammed, the GMD stated that the extension of WAGP to Cote d'Ivoire would facilitate easy transmission of gas within the West African sub-region. He noted that the visit would afford the NNPC and Cote d'Ivoire the opportunity to open a new landscape for further bilateral discussion that would lead to the growth and development of the oil and gas sector. He expressed the readiness of the NNPC to develop the capacity of the delegation, adding that the NNPC was aware of the long history of refining in Cote d'Ivoire. Finally, in business, all features the raised losses on Thursday, driven higher by an ultimately bullish view by investors on weekly U.S. inventory data. On the New York Mercantile Exchange, light sweet crude futures for delivery in September climbed 17 cents or 0.3% to $49.75 a barrel after trading as low as $49.12 in earlier session. October Brent crude and London ICE futures exchange rose 22 cents or 0.4%